Urgent negotiations are underway over the North American Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, which took effect back in 1994. Back in a 1992 presidential debate, independent Ross Perot uttered his now famous quote. He said that NAFTA would result in that giant sucking sound, jobs going south. President Trump says he wants to renegotiate an agreement that's fairer to the U.S. We recently spoke to Congressman Henry Cuellar, whose Texas district on the Mexican border has benefited from the trade agreement.
Basically, this agreement was they agreed to lower the tariffs or the custom duties when a product comes into the United States or Canada or Mexico, depending what perspective you're looking at, you lower the tax, the custom duties, and therefore you would have more increased trade. And we have. In fact, last year we had about $3.3 billion of trade every day between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. Millions of jobs have been created, either primary or secondary jobs, because of this movement of goods that are between the three countries. It's more of a regional perspective.
So the idea is we almost act like one unit as far as trade, the three regions, and it makes it beneficial to all of us?
It's a win-win situation for the three countries. We've seen it from 24 years ago. When you lower the custom duties, that means it's one unit made up of three countries. That creates opportunities, job opportunities, trade opportunities, imports and exports between the three countries. Now, does this agreement need to be modernized? The answer is yes. And this is where the Trump administration has been looking at doing.
What is the controversy? Because over all of these years, I've certainly heard a lot of opposition to NAFTA. What is the basic argument against it?
Well, you know, the basic argument is that it takes jobs away. But I'm one of those that I believe that our American companies can compete with any other country as long as we have fair trade rules, which is, again, what we do with the NAFTA is we lower the duties for everybody. So therefore, our American companies, our innovation, our ability to be able to compete means that we should be able to, for example, energy, natural gas, petroleum, we have a surplus with Mexico. In fact, if you look at where we export our natural gas, more than 50% of everything we export goes to one country, and that's Mexico. So we all have comparative advantages when we look at the three countries.
With Trump in the equation, how does that change things?
Well, the president wants to add certain provisions that, and I can understand where he says America has to win. I mean, we got to make sure that we win, but then at the same time, the other countries have to also benefit in such a way. Otherwise, we can't say, hey, we got this country or this agreement, and Mexico and Canada, go back to your parliaments or to your Congress. It's not good for you, but go ahead and accept it. It has to be a win-win for all the three countries. What the president wants to do is he wants to add certain controversial provisions. For example, he wants to add a provision that does a sunset, what we call sunset, every 5 years. Imagine if we have to go through this controversy every 5 years. It just doesn't work. And if you are a business person, a company, you can't predict or you can't plan if you're not sure if this agreement is going to be available for the next, after the next 5 years.
Where do you see all of this going?
I think if we look at where we are as a country, the United States is blessed to have countries like Mexico and Canada. Let's modernize NAFTA. But we also have to keep in mind that if you're going to have good neighbors, the economic part of it is not only important, the trade, but you also have to look at the security part of it. They're good neighbors, and we need to start treating Canada and Mexico as good neighbors.
Texas lost an estimated 50,000 jobs by 2014 due to NAFTA. Many garment factories moved to Mexico. But one analysis finds the lost manufacturing jobs have been more than made up by growth in other sectors.